Navigating Australia's visa system can feel, well, pretty overwhelming, right? So today, we're going to break down one of its most important pathways, the Subclass 116 Carer Visa. I'm going to give you a really clear step-by-step roadmap from the very beginning all the way to the end. So here's what we're covering. We'll start with the basics, what this visa is all about. Then we'll walk through the 4 key stages, getting ready to apply, gathering all your documents, actually sending the thing in, and then what happens after you've applied. Okay, so first things first, before we even think about paperwork, it's absolutely essential to understand who this visa is for and, what the whole foundation of a successful application is built on. Now, the key word on this slide, the one you really need to focus on, is permanent. The Subclass 116 isn't some temporary fix. It's a pathway to permanently moving to Australia for a very specific, and let's be honest, a very compassionate reason to provide real, ongoing care for a family member who needs you. The entire application, the whole thing, really rests on proving these 2 fundamental points. You have to show, without a doubt, that your relative has a genuine long-term medical need. But that's not all. You also have to prove that there are no other viable care options for them inside Australia. This is the absolute core of your case. So let's move on to step 1. A lot of people just jump right into collecting documents. But wait, there is one thing you must do before anything else. And getting this wrong, it can make your entire application invalid before you've even started. And this is it. This is the single most important first step. Seriously, do not pass go. Do not collect a single other document until you have taken care of this one absolutely critical requirement. So here's the deal. Your relative has to be assessed by Bupa Medical Visa Services. Now, you don't need the final certificate to apply, but you must have proof that the process has already started. The Department of Home Affairs is crystal clear on this. Without that proof, your application is invalid. Period. Think of it as a gatekeeper. It ensures they only spend time on cases with a medically certified, serious need for care. Okay, once that medical assessment is officially in motion, then we can move to step 2, building your case file. I like to think of it as creating a complete dossier that tells a clear, undeniable story about who you are, your family, and why you're applying. And believe me, the stakes could not be higher. This is a direct quote from the department, and it's a serious warning. Inaccurate or false information doesn't just get you a no, it can literally lock you and your family out of the Australian visa system for a full decade. Honesty and accuracy are everything here. So for the main applicant, the identity documents are pretty straightforward. You'll need clear copies of your current passport, the photo and details pages, your national ID card if you have one, any legal proof if your name is changed, and of course, 4 recent passport photos. Now, if you're bringing children under 18 with you, you'll need their identity documents too. But the really key item here is parental consent. If the child's other parent isn't coming with you, you absolutely must have either a completed Form 1229 or a statutory declaration from them giving their formal permission. This is totally non-negotiable. And for your partner, you'll provide their identity documents as well. If you're married, the certificate is usually enough. But if you're in a de facto relationship, you've got to prove it's been going on for at least 12 months. This is where things like joint bank statements, bills in both your names, or a shared lease agreement become super important to show the relationship is genuine. This is a question we see all the time, and the Australian government has very, very specific rules about it. So what do you do if your birth certificate or marriage license is in another language? Well, it all depends on where you get the translation done. If it's done inside Australia, the translator has to be accredited by NATSI. That's the official national authority. If you get it done overseas, they don't need that specific accreditation, but the translator must provide all their professional details right there on the translation itself. Okay, pay close attention here, because this is a really common mistake. For almost every document, we're talking passports, birth certificates, bank statements, you will send a certified copy, not the original. The one huge exception is police certificates. For those, you have to send the originals. All right, you've kicked off the medical assessment, you've gathered your dossier, now it's time for step 3, lodging the application. And it's really important to remember that, unlike a lot of visas these days, this is a paper-based process, so you gotta get the details right. It really just breaks down into 3 simple actions. First, fill out Form 470F completely and make sure it's in English. Second, pay the fee online through an ImmiAccount and print out the receipt. Third, package up that form, the receipt, and all your certified documents, and send it by post or courier to the exact address in Perth that's listed on the form. And here it is, the first of 2 critical location rules. You cannot be physically in Australia when you lodge this application. It has to be sent from overseas. This is a strict black and white eligibility requirement. All right, now for the final steps. And honestly, this is where you need the most patience. You've sent off the package, and now the waiting game begins. So let's take a look at what happens next and how the whole thing unfolds from here. This timeline gives you a great little overview. So after you send in the paper application, you'll eventually be able to link it to your online ImmiAccount. And that's where you'll do things like upload the final Bupa certificate, respond if they ask for more info, and later on, pay that second big visa fee when they send you the invoice. The very last step, of course, is getting that final decision in writing. The final outcome is going to arrive in one of 2 ways. If it's granted, fantastic, you'll get all the details you need, your visa grant number, when it starts, any conditions attached. If it's refused, they don't just say no. They will give you a written explanation for why, and they'll give you information about your rights to have that decision reviewed. And this is the second critical location rule, and it's every bit as important as the first one. Just like you had to be outside Australia to apply, you must also be outside Australia when they make their final decision. Trust me, planning any travel during this period is extremely risky. So let's just quickly run through the absolute must-knows one more time. Number 1, start that Bupa medical assessment before you do anything else. 2, send original police certificates, but certified copies of everything else. 3, if anything changes in your life, your address, your marital status, anything, tell them right away. And number 4, stay outside of Australia for both the application and the final decision. We've just walked through the entire process, from that very first critical step all the way to the final decision. Look, this visa is about more than just filling out forms. It's about proving a powerful, compelling need for care. So the final question you've got to ask yourself is this. Now that you have the roadmap, is your documentation really ready to tell your story?